All right, hi guys. Running a little late today, but finally got started here. Let's see. Oh, I don't actually have. Hold on, I don't have my pop-out chat. I have to get my chat directly from YouTube because for some reason Streamlabs doesn't allow me to respond or interact with the chat in any way in case I need to. So I'm just gonna pull that up and I'm going to, yeah, mute this. There we go. Mute. I'm going to, yeah, there we go. Okay, pop out chat. And Streamlabs. There we go. There, now I have chat. Okay, well, welcome in everybody, anybody who's here. How's everybody doing, first of all? And hope everybody's had a good day so far. Raph and Donnie, yeah, Raph and Donnie. I was thinking, so I got an ask on Tumblr about Raph and Donnie about my AU version of them, and I thought, hold on, I'm gonna move the microphone really quick and mute it. Okay, I have adjusted it. Scoot closer a little bit. Ah, I just hit the desk. Okay. I just want to make sure that, because moving the microphone makes a lot of noise. Anyway, I got an ask about, like, if I would draw more of Raph and Donnie in my making peace style. And so I thought, why not try, because I've been interested in this again recently, doing a screenshot redraw, but doing it in my AU. So basically copying this exact picture, but doing it in my AU style, which I think would be good practice for the style. And also just a lot of fun to try and make an official looking screenshot. So I need to make Raph's face immediately. You know what? I'm not gonna backtrack so fast on my sketches of all things. Right now, we just need to get the base elements down. It's gonna look funny to begin with, but that's okay. I can already tell the angle of his face is way off. Just gonna move it a little bit, so that's gonna throw me off. All right. Let's see, he has very big back muscles. Proportionally, I think Raph in the future, in any future, would have exponentially grown bigger than all of his brothers. He would have gotten, like, proportionally speaking, he would have gotten a lot bigger than all the rest of them. So I'm gonna try and make that apparent in this drawing. Just make him a little bit bigger without losing the integrity of the entire picture that I'm referencing. Because he is a big boy. See, the thing is I already know that these angles are really, really off. But the point of sketching is not to be perfect immediately. And this is something I'm trying to teach myself still. The point of sketching is to get something to work with. Just a base layer. Something. It's the same with writing. It's like you can't make anything, or you can't just derive a good story out of thin air. You have to start with something, and it might be terrible. It might not be the greatest thing you've ever written, but you have to start with something so that you can edit it later, because that's a huge part of writing is editing. Just love the shapes of this show style. I feel like I need more room to work with. Let's make this canvas slightly bigger. Okay. There we go. And I can already tell his arm is sticking out way too far, but we're not going to fix it right now because I'm focusing. I'm just getting the sketch down. I'm really trying to force myself not to overanalyze at the very beginning. Or at least, I'm still going to overanalyze, but I'm not going to try to fix everything right away. Look at him, he's so confused. I feel like Raph would have, in the future, I draw him with the tear marks in his mask still when he's from the future, and I feel like maybe he would have gotten that stitched up or patched or whatever, but I also think he probably just thought it looked cool, so... I always forget how wide he is. He's such a wide boy. And we love that for him. I think one of the things that has really helped me in art in general since drawing the Rise style is hands. Hands, I know that the turtle's hands are not the common type of hand you usually draw, you know, they've only got 3 fingers, but their hands in general, the general shape and how their fingers work have been really helpful to me in how I draw hands, like regular human hands. Let's see, down here, I'm not going to get too detailed with his whole belt situation because that's going to be changed to whatever he usually wears in my AAU, so. I'm going to turn down the music a little bit on my end. Let me know if the music is too loud for you guys. This back section is a little bit bigger than I realized. His shell is also always so much broader than I'm expecting. There are parts of this drawing that I'm gonna have to decide, like, do I need to change it for the sake of the AU, or does this need to stay the same as the base design of Raph? Or Donnie. We're also drawing Donnie, which I should figure out how he's perching up there soon. Well, I gotta look up a reference for my own designs. Let's see. Making peace. Raph. I'll just copy the image. That way I can still keep Streamlabs up in the other screen. Okay, where am I gonna place this guy? Oh. I think Raph, out of all of them, there are a few things, not necessarily that I would change about his design, but that maybe that I would add. Most of them have to do with his outfit on his lower half. I feel like there's not enough going on around his ankles, which I don't know if that makes any sense, but just, I feel like I could have done something similar to Leo, where he had the Hakama pants and the Hakama skirt situation, but give him, you know, actual Hakama pants, because when I drew Leo, I didn't know what I was doing. But I still like how his design turned out. Raph's design in general, I'm very happy with how it turned out. There are just a couple things. I would maybe also change his arm wrappings just a little bit, make them maybe not quite as long. Because he never really had, before the whole episode, before like the end of the show, and the movie, he didn't really have these black wrappings. He had like more, he had a lot sparser of wrappings and bands and whatever on him in comparison to his brothers, or at least Leo and Donnie. Mikey had a lot, or a lot less. He gives me Uncle Iroh kind vibe. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like he would have, in this future, he would have definitely kind of fallen into that role of just like, Raph in every iteration has always been somewhat of a hothead, but I feel like this Raph in particular, and maybe other Raphs too, considering like the character development that's perfect for him, is he would have mellowed out into a lot more of a chill guy and kind of you know, give little nuggets of wisdom. Yeah, I don't know. Let's see. Oh yeah, I did make his plastron spikes here a little bit longer. In general, I've always been like, how does Raph move with so much spikiness going on? But it's a cartoon. You can suspend the disbelief and kind of fudge things to make it look, you know, comfortable. I never really get to draw the crack down this part of his plastron because he's always got something draped through this hole here. That's okay. I just like drawing the edges and the cracks of shells. Let's see, this probably falls straight down here, tucks in. Okay, I'm gonna fix his arm already. This is just bothering me so much. Oh no, I was on the wrong layer. It's okay. I didn't draw over anything though. Let's see. Just cut out this general area. Deselect, go to this layer, V, and transfer down. Hi guys, welcome in. Okay, and he definitely has bigger spikes. That's another thing about him that I would probably change around, is just like where his spike placement is. Yeah, I think that works for now. Let's see, this is one of those situations where I could change things a little bit, but it's actually more a part of the picture if I keep it the way it is. Like this right here, my natural instinct is to make this curve like this under the finger to follow the general depth of the picture, but it goes straight over as like a animation shorthand, a quick way to get the line across. So I'm going to keep that consistent here. Hi, welcome in. I'm redrawing a screenshot from Rise right now in the style of my future AU. Oh, and this was what I was trying to do originally when I realized I was on the wrong layer. Just trying to shift things around. And let's move this in. Transform. I'm getting my magma controls mixed up with my CSP controls. Because in magma, it's Shift T to transform, but in CSP, it's Control T. In magma, it's Shift T. So I keep reverting from one to the other. All right. That's the general layout. I kind of want to try and see what it looks like if I just don't give Raph as much on his arms. Because these the wraps on his original design, again, I really like his original design, but these look like they're just hugging way too much in contrast with everything else going on with him, which looks like so loose and laid back. I do still like how I tore these up, though, and made them a little battered looking. Let's see, how does it look? Ah, yeah. Let's see, I also had, yeah, I left like a little crack just kind of open on his plaster, and he usually has like a band-aid right there, and then I'm not sure why he always has a band-aid on right here in the show, other than maybe it's like some sort of crack or wound that's been taking so much longer to heal because it's on the plastron. I don't know. But I feel like eventually he would just remove that. And this would have been sealed up enough or something like that. Or it would have been filled in with some sort of like resin or fiberglass or something. Just kind of like the same way I have it on Leo's shell. Raph looks so good. Oh, thank you. I'm glad. He's getting there. See, I'll give him his little belty things here. And the suggestion of pants. Got so attached to the band-aid he didn't want to part with it. Yeah. Yeah, I guess so. I've just never understood it. I mean, it's probably just a part of his design overall. You know, I don't have to like overanalyze every little detail, but you know what the Rise community is like. We like to extrapolate things and lore from simple character designs. Let's see. Emotional support band-aid, yeah. Exactly. I do like his elbow situation though. His chest his front here is not quite wide enough. Actually, instead of redrawing it, let's just shift it outward a little bit. He also has a bandage in the exact same spot on his bug suit. Like, what happened? Did he get stung? Does he? I never noticed that before. It's been a while since I've seen that episode, but maybe it's just a canon event. Like, no matter what situation he's in, like, there has to be a reason for him to have a band-aid there. Okay, and you know what? I'm gonna do a second layer for Donnie. I'm also going to resize the canvas again. Now that I know how far out his arm is, and then we'll move this up so that they're, what? Ah, I hit cancel on accident. Change canvas size. In and up. Just a bit, okay. There we go, that's better. Also, I'm just now noticing on the stream, I've got a little bit of my sidebar here sticking out. That's a little distracting. Oh, there's all my colors and tools and stuff. I usually have this formatted so it fits the stream screen perfectly, but sometimes it gets shifted around a little bit. So let's see, there it is, now it's gone. All right, transform. And I guess we should probably also get reference for Donnie. Open sesame. Copy. Gonna be big, transform. Okay, and we'll put him over here. There we go. Let's see. Donnie shape. How draw Donnie? See, his wrist starts right where his shell, or his wrist ends right where his shell starts, so. And the muscle shapes in this show are just so interesting. They're not what you would expect, but at the same time they really work. He's definitely going to have beefier arms, and also I already know this angle is going to be so off. Let's move Raph up a little bit. Reference Raph. Yeah. That's already a problem. Hold on. Down, 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 down. Down, down. There we go. I think I can work with that better. I think I need to get more general shapes. Let's see. Super original question. What got you into TMNT? Now that's a good question. I'd say that my first exposure, I guess, to TMNT was like the 2003 series. I was aware of it, but I never really watched it. And then I tried watching the 2012 series, and like there were a lot of things about it that I liked, don't get me wrong, but I just didn't really get into it. And then later, much later, like as in only just a few years ago, I started seeing a lot of posts from people and artists that I follow, drawing things about the TMNT, Rise of the TMNT specifically. And I was like, okay, that looks kind of interesting, I guess. But then like I looked at the ratings on IMDb, and this was a mistake, obviously, but I was just like, the ratings are kind of low. I don't want to waste my time with something I'm not going to enjoy. So I just didn't really touch it. And then a clip came up, or a compilation of clips from the show popped up in my YouTube feed. And I was like, okay, this looks kind of interesting, I guess. I'll bite. And so I clicked on it and I started watching it, and I was like, oh, this is actually like really funny. This is actually like a super funny show. And then there was a clip in there somewhere where there was like a really intense moment. So I was like, oh, so this show like actually has depth and character, and it's not just for giggles. Like, so I looked it up and I started like watching it, Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and I was really enjoying it. I didn't actually watch the episodes in order. I was watching mostly a lot of like the highly recommended episodes, the ones that get you like the most lore and everything. So I skipped a lot of them to begin with. But that was enough to get me hooked. And later I went back and rewatched even the episodes that had lower ratings, and I was like, these are cute. These are really fun. And they give more lore and insight into the characters. So I don't know, something about it really gripped me by the throat and did not let go. I love that show so much. There's something, the animation is amazing. It's very heartfelt. It's hilarious. The show is anyway. The movie, quite honestly, the movie is not actually all that funny. I think they kind of... I'm not going to say they got lazy with the humor in the movie, but I think it was just too intense for it to be really super funny. Which I don't really think is a good excuse, because there are a lot of movies that I know that are really intense that just like have humor all over the place. One of them that I just recently watched, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. If you haven't watched that movie, watch it. It's hilarious, and it is heartfelt, and it is so intense, and it's amazing, and I love it. I forgot how much I loved it until I rewatched it recently with my siblings. But just in general, the Rise of the TMNT movie really hooked me. I think so. I would say that the show is 50% of the reason I love the franchise, or not the franchise, but the series. It's just so good. But the movie is the other 50% because it adds so much in terms of storytelling and characterization and really cool moments. And it's just an interesting and original twist on the TMNT, one that I'd never really seen before. Could you imagine a show where every episode is actually a different universe with the same characters? Random thought. Different universe with the same character. Oh, I see what you're saying now. That would be pretty interesting. It would be funny if like each episode was a different universe. They toned down the humor because everyone was still loving the 2012 for its intense moments, so they tried that. Oh, is that true? That's interesting. I didn't know that. Is that like from an interview or something? Or because I know that there are like a lot of official, unofficial tweets from like the creators that people are still using nowadays to extrapolate what little information we can get. That's what I've heard. Okay. I mean, it makes sense. I know that a lot of people were really upset about the end of 2012 and 2018 or Rise replacing it. And that's to be expected with anything that there's a big fan base for. When you have something that's so beloved and it gets overshadowed, or not overshadowed, but just totally taken over by the next thing that the studio wants to put out, or not the studio, the company wants to put out. I get why people were mad about Rise when it first came out. I totally see where they were coming from. But at the same time, their reasons hold less and less weight to me anymore nowadays. Like the design differences, that's the biggest strength to me. The fact that they all look so different from each other, as opposed to in other series where they all almost look exactly alike. And I really like that they're all different species. That's a fun thing to explore. I've seen clips of TMNT, but I've never seen actual shows or movies. Should one start at the very beginning, or should I start on Rise? You know, it doesn't really matter which one you start on, whichever one just looks the most interesting to you, because they're not like sequential or anything or tied to each other in any way. They're just their own thing, and they all follow the same basic lore, facts and structures as previous iterations. So there are so many different ways to get into TMNT if you really want to, but I wouldn't recommend, this is just me personally, I wouldn't recommend trying to get into any sort of series that you don't truly have an interest for. I've tried to do that in the past, but it just doesn't really work out for me. It's like, just, I don't know. You don't have to force yourself to like something. But if you want to get into TMNT, if you're really, really interested, you should look at all the different versions there are, like between the shows and the movies and the comics, and see which one sparks your interest and just check it out. I personally highly recommend Rise, but it is quite the departure from classic TMNT. So there is that. But that's what I like about Rise. It's kind of its own thing. It's such a great idea, though, to make the next TMNT show have humor after 2012 being so intense. Also, the different designs in Rise is so unique. That is so true. Yeah, it might have been kind of a breath of fresh air for the TMNT, for there to be a little bit of humor reintroduced. To begin with, in the original Mirage comics that these are based off of by Eastman and Laird, they were pretty dark. They were pretty gritty to begin with. And very intense. And then with the 19, was it? Oh, sorry, hit my desk again. I think it was the 1989 cartoon. I might have the year wrong, but the original cartoon, the really goofy one, they really made it kid friendly and very goofy and fun loving. When they made it into an animated cartoon for TV. And so TMNT, for as long as it has existed, barring obviously the very original one, if you consider the cartoon to be part of the original initiation of the whole TMNT craze, then it's always been somewhat of a dark franchise, an intense franchise, and also very humorous and silly. Recommend the 1990, 1991 TMNT movies. Those are what got me into TMNT, at least. Yeah, those are really fun. Those are really, really goofy. And I love that about them. That's the thing about a lot of movies for me. In a lot of cases, just media in general has to be very lighthearted and funny for me to actually enjoy them. Like, it can't be all doom and gloom all the time. There's got to be some levity. Otherwise, it just becomes a drag to watch. It's like, okay, how can we see these characters be more miserable? There's got to be something. There is, I will say, I have a little bit of a caveat with that. I do like a good tragedy once in a while. Like The Hunger Games. The Hunger Games is really good. There is very little, like, humor in that. But the thing about The Hunger Games is what it lacks in humor, it makes up for in interest and just a lot of thinking about society and what it says about our society and popular culture and all of that stuff. It's just, well, maybe not popular culture, but, you know, just like desensitization to violence. The OG 1987. Oh, 87. Okay, that's right. It was full of humor. Rise is like a version of that, but highly caffeinated. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. I feel like it's got a lot more of a dry comedy feel to it as well, instead of just like juvenile slapstick jokes. Okay, his arm goes like this. No, it does not. His shoulder has to come down a little bit more. I am really struggling with his proportions. Feels like he's leaning way too far as well. Hunger Games book series were incredible. Yeah, they really were. They were amazing. I'm so excited for the new Sunrise on the Reaping movie. That's a little better. Which is, I think it's supposed to come out this November, but that was such a good one. That is... I'm not going to say anything about that one. I read the book, but I'm not going to say anything about it because that would be spoiling everything, and you just cannot spoil that book. Any of the books. Bad idea. It's too good to spoil. Very, very tragic stories, though. Hi, welcome in. I'm drawing Raph and Donnie from Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And I'm drawing them in my own alternate universe style. First, I'm trying to redraw the screenshot, this one up here. And I'm just trying to get the basics down, but I'm struggling with proportions a little bit, which I will fix later as I keep moving on. Realize I need to kind of preemptively add Donnie's clothes a little bit. And I gave him his knee pads from the screenshot, but he's not going to have those. He's going to have his overalls. Let's see. Give a little bit of crease because where you bend the joints in your clothes, they crease a lot. Okay. His knee also sticks way further up. And you know what I should be doing that I have not been doing this whole time? Mirroring. Oh, it actually doesn't look too bad. His head's off, though. I want to buy the Last Ronin comics before the game comes out, but I'm afraid it will hurt my heart. I did see they are making a game too, which should be fun. That, yeah, I actually have, the Last Ronin comics, and I really need to finish those. I really liked the beginning of, I started them, so I really liked the beginning of the Last Ronin comics. And it tends to get, the story tends to get just a little bit muddled towards the end of like the first, I don't know what it is, I don't know how many of the issues it collects, but I haven't gotten to, I have 2 volumes. I have the first Last Ronin volume, and then I have, what's it called? Last Ronin Lost Years, and I really want to read the Lost Years, but I feel like I have to finish the first book first. But yeah, the concept in general is just really interesting. And I won't spoil anything in case there's somebody here who doesn't know who the Last Ronin is, like which of the turtles it is, because that's kind of a big deal. I don't want to spoil that for anybody. But it's a really, really interesting concept. And in general, I like the whole way that that is portrayed. Okay, and because we're doing a future version of Donnie, he's got to have a slightly longer face. Because when you grow up, your proportions lengthen a little bit. You have a little less of a baby face. I'm actually drawing too. I'm drawing my lifeguard orca OC. Oh, that sounds cute. I want to say who it is so bad now. I won't though. Thank you. I like hearing people talk when I draw. Oh, that's good to hear. I'm glad. I'm glad I fall into the category of people that you would enjoy listening to talking. I talk about a lot of random stuff. Lots of TMNT stuff, but just whatever's on my mind too. Okay, he also has chin stripes. Gonna make them kind of faint. Usually watch a streamer called GH Coffee. I haven't heard of that one. Yeah, it's nice sometimes to throw something on in the background to listen to. Sometimes it's difficult though to find what works best for you in terms of like not being too distracting. I really like I personally really like watching Queso. He's funny. And he's actually really good background noise for me. I'm curious what you think of the recent live-action TMNT. I've heard they were bad. Recent live-action TMNT. How recent are we talking? Are we talking like the 2014? Because I can't think of anything that's been like produced in the 2020s. The last live action I can remember was from 2014. Did I miss something? I'm trying to think. If you're referring to the 2014 Bayverse movies, I actually really liked those. They actually might be my second favorite besides Rise. The thing is that you have to, with the Bayverse movies, you kind of have to go into it expecting them to be just really, really corny, really cheesy, full of explosions, action movie. And that's exactly what you're going to get. And if that's what you're expecting, you will not be disappointed. And I wasn't disappointed. I thought they were actually really funny. And they really portrayed the turtles very well in that version. I'm so glad he got back into the water park simulator. Oh, yeah. Queso. Yes, I am too. That's one of my favorite series. I like his horror series too. The way he reacts to like scary things happening is so funny sometimes. It's like, see something scary happen or the suggestion of something scary happening, he's like, nah, I'm out. Queso should low-key become a voice actor. He's got an amazing vocal range. He really does. And he's very good at expressing, which I think is incredibly important for voice acting. You have to be able to express yourself and give your voice character and energy. And he can definitely do that. Something about his crash outs just crack me up. I loved the Bayverse Transformers, not gonna lie. I have not seen them yet. I keep meaning to see them. I keep meaning to watch them. I mean, my brother keeps recommending them to me, and I feel like I should probably watch those. Because my brother has good taste. Okay, that is not how the back of his shell works, I am realizing. And it's sticking out way too far. I feel like this is going to take a while to get right, but that's okay. We're going to be here for a while. And the point... Actually, at this point, I mean, I want it to look like the screenshot, but what I'm really going for is practicing the style and just making more art of my own AU, because I can. I do what I want. If you liked those, you may like the Bayverse Turtles too. Oh yeah, you should definitely watch them. I really liked them. A lot of people liked the second movie better than the first. And I enjoyed the second movie okay. I think it gave the Turtles a little bit more depth in terms of like their team overall. But for some reason, I just really liked the first one better. I think maybe it was because it was simpler. Let's see. I always forget that I've given Donnie like a shirt, so everything here is going to be covered up. I just gotta commit to the shape though. Let's see. Let's make his pants a little bulkier. And he does not have these elbow pads. He has his basic wraps. First 3 Transformers were amazing. 4 and 5 were mid. Okay, I'll keep that in mind. See, if it's coming off of like an actual like recommendation, because like I was saying about like basing my judgment of Rise of the TMNT before I'd actually watched it off of IMDb, I was very much wrong. I was very much mistaken about how good the show was because I had listened to those reviews. But if it's personal recommendation, I'm more inclined to check that out. And trust whether something is, you know, mid or not. His goggles are also different in my AU. They're slightly shorter. And they have 2 extra scopes on either side. I'm trying to remember. I think I might have based the extra scopes off of Donnie's original concept art for Rise, but I can't remember. I'll have to look at the art book in a little bit. Could be willing to listen to some of my music someday, just whenever you want. Maybe. If I think about it, I have a lot of things that come up for me. I will try to remember to check it out. I honestly get recommended so many things so often, it's hard for me to keep track of what I should check out next. But that's cool that you make music. How does this go? This goes like that and that. Oh, okay. I might check that out. I always like trying new music. Sometimes the music I listen to, the songs that people recommend to me just like really stick and become earworms, and I just like keep listening to it. And then other times it's just like, oh, that's a really good song. But yeah, I never know until I try it. It's the thing about not tracing, copying, as opposed to tracing, that really helps you figure out proportions. It's something about copying is so much more helpful than tracing when it comes to trying to learn a style, because it really forces you to analyze about the shapes. What about the shapes you're trying to replicate? I'm gonna lower his face a little bit. Oh, I'm on the wrong layer. I forgot I have Donnie on a separate layer. I will be using the warp tool quite a lot. What about this is throwing me off? I always have to ask that. I think it is... I think it's right here in this general area. This just looks like so nebulous and like I don't know what's going on. I think I'm going to make his little plant canisters just a slightly smaller. I also noticed that he wears his belt really high. I should probably also adhere to that design. Oh, I was on the wrong layer, wasn't I? Well, I'm just going to redo it. That's okay. I'll have to merge these layers eventually, so... Okay, that actually looks better too, so it's not like quite so merged with Raph's shell. Or shell shard, whatever you want to call it. I think there is a little bit of a... No, he just leans really far like that. I think I do need to transform him just a little, like shift him a little bit. Oh, you know what? Okay, these don't need to be on separate layers anymore. All on one layer. He needs to be brought in just a little bit closer. Down. This is why I like the warp tool so much, especially for sketches. The only problem is that I don't have this same tool when I'm doing traditional art. So you have to either do a lot of sketches or just be more precise, which I think is really a benefit of doing traditional art on a regular basis, just for practice. Let's see. Clean things up just a little bit here. He has a really scuffed mask. Okay, I just realized it's a little past 2 o'clock. I'm going to turn off my mic to get a drink of water. Everybody, drink your water if you have not done that in a while. All right. Have you seen the Batman vs. TMNT movie? The clips from the movie is what sparked my interest in TMNT. Yes, I have actually. I finally watched that and it was really good. It was very, again, very heartfelt. I like the parallels that they had between the Turtles and the Bat family. That was really cool. Yeah, it was fun. It was a really interesting concept and like, way darker than I was expecting, but like not in a bad way. It just got really intense. I was like, oh, okay, they went there. That's cool. One thing about Donnie's design is I have half a mind to get rid of these suspenders, or maybe incorporate them into his design, his shirt design a little bit more. I mean, they are somewhat functional. Maybe I would just redesign them because they look a little flimsy, quite honestly. But, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I would probably just make them a little more, like, better structured. Because I think he needs suspenders, especially for the amount of stuff that he carries on his pants. But yeah. Any tips on rendering? Oh. Yeah, I don't have... I guess, yes, I do have a lot of tips on rendering. Let's see. Let's do a little bit of rendering right now, even though this is just a sketch, but you can see the basic shapes. I'm not consistent with how I render, but the primary way that I render is, let's see. Let's just take Donnie's face here. So if I were to render Donnie's face, no color or anything, basically I would just lasso. I use the lasso tool a lot, and I've turned the stabilization way up so it's a smooth line. But basically I would take an outline of his entire head, and then, let's see, with the lasso tool, now I have a selection, and whatever I draw in the selection on a separate layer, of course, is going to fall within that selection, and that gives you sharp and smooth edges, and that's what you want in rendering, is you want your shadows. If you've ever looked at shadows, there are sharp shadows and there are soft shadows, and they bleed into each other sometimes. So, if I started just shading his head in general like this, that would keep his head as its own element to the rest of his character design. So it's separate and it hasn't bled over into the rest of his design. Because if I tried to shade with this is an airbrush tool, by the way. If I tried to shade with the airbrush tool without selecting anything, it would bleed over into the rest of his design here. And you don't want that little control when you're shading. You want to, even if there is supposed to be shadow, cast shadow on the underside of his head here, or the back of his head where his neck is, you want to be able to control that, and give each element, each section of a character the proper shading. So even with his head, I'm not even done like with shading his head here. This is not where I would stop. The next thing I would probably do is shade underneath his eyebrows. And so you would follow the general curve of where his eyebrows would be, like between his eyebrows and his eyelid, and then, you know, melting back here somewhat. So, and then you would just kind of airbrush the upper part of this just a little bit. It doesn't need to be too much. Sometimes less is more. And then you've got a little bit more depth to his eyebrows. And then he also, faces are often in planes. They are shaped, or not shaped, they are divided into planes. So they're kind of like cubes. Right now we're looking at the side of his face, but this top part, actually the side of his head, like just in this general area, following his cheekbone, and then down past his jaw, because his jaw is probably like, if you were to look at him from the front, it's probably like a little bit more exposed to the light, and then down here, and then the back of his head. Apologies in advance, I'm very bad at explaining all of this, especially since I do it so casually. So it's just second nature to me, so I have a hard time explaining it. Anyway, but then you've got just a little bit more dimension to his face. So, for example, so here's another example. You can take a little section of his goggles, like right here, this back part right here, just outline it with your lasso tool, Again, I've turned the stabilization way up. I do not have a steady hand. I am not like some genius with the lasso tool. And then you just color this little section here, which is the flat edge of his goggles. Actually, my version of Donnie does not have round goggles, or headphones, so they would be more square. But just for the sake of this example. Now he's got a little bit more depth. I'm going into probably more detail than I need to, but there are other methods of shading where you just take just a regular paintbrush and you just kind of scribble in the shading. And it gives you more control with like where your sharp edges are. And then you can work on using like a smudge tool, bleeding out the areas, like, you know, kind of fading them where they need to be softer, because you have sharper edges where the object against the other object meets up more closely. But then see how his chin, his chin is so much further away from like this part of his neck. And so the shadows would be softer. If you've ever played like hand shadows against a wall, like, you know, where you put your hand up in front, like just kind of a short distance away from the wall, but a good distance away from the light, so that the outline of your hand is, what is it? Shadow puppets. That's what I'm looking for. You play shadow puppets with your hands, and you could see a sharp outline of your hand. But if you were to get your hand too close to the light, the outline of your hand on the wall would blur so much. Anyway, okay, that was a lot. I need to catch my messages. Oh, hi, welcome in. I'm so sorry I missed you coming in. I aspire to draw like this one day. Oh, thank you. It just takes practice. I mean, I am not the best at what I do. I'm still getting better, but so is every artist. Literally every artist is continually getting better at what they do. And that's the thing about being an artist, is that you are probably never going to reach the level that you want to be at, because the level you want to be at is always going to be increasing with more skill sets that you want to acquire. So what you aspire to now is good. Don't stop pursuing that. That's really, really good. But realize that someday you might make it to that point, and then you by that point you will have set your sights on something much higher. So you do have to remember to appreciate where your art is now, in the now, whatever period that is, right now, in the future, whenever you've achieved what you want to achieve in your skill set. Really take the time to appreciate how far you've come, where you've been, and even the art that you're not the proudest of. Really appreciate the opportunity to have ever drawn, because it is such a gift. It is such a gift to be able to draw and bring images to life, and it's so much fun. I don't know. I'm very passionate about art, obviously. I just like it so much, and I want people to always want to push themselves in their art. But I also want people to be happy with their art, because I think that's really important. I don't want you to languish in your art. I don't want you to just draw something and be like, okay, this is my masterpiece, I'm done now. Unless, you know, you do want to move on to some other kind of project. But like, you don't really ever make it. You know, like, you don't ever really stop creating. You just keep going, because the point isn't to just like make that one big piece that you've always wanted to make and then never create again. You keep going because you love doing it. That's my perspective anyway. That's how I feel. I don't want to stop drawing. I love drawing so much. Do you ever use blending modes? I'm not sure what that is. Sorry, I'm still catching up on messages a little bit. I am not sure what that is. Please describe it for me, because I'm working with CSP. And I would really like, if you have techniques, if any, this goes for anybody. If you guys have like techniques for me to learn and use, I really want to try those out. So please describe what you mean by blending modes. I love your art style. Welcome in and thank you. That is so sweet. Right now I'm trying to copy the Rise art style. But yeah, I guess you can see examples of my art style right here. I don't know. I like hyper rendering. It's so needlessly complicated, but I really like doing it. I use Ibis Paint. Oh, I've used Ibis Paint before, but I don't think I've ever used blending modes in it, so I'll try to explain. Okay. If it's too complicated for you to explain, that's okay, but I would love to hear whatever you have to teach me about it. I think a big key of art in general is just don't stop learning. Actually, that's a big key of life itself. Do not stop learning. Don't ever stop learning. Always ask questions. Be curious about everything. Let's see. Okay. Blending modes. Basically, you do some mathematics stuff with layers and allow you to replicate realistic lighting or shading. Is that like, okay. Blending modes. Oh. I'm so dumb. Of course I have that in CSP. That's exactly what I'm using. That's what okay. Yes, I know what a blending mode is. I'm so dumb. I'm so sorry. Yes, a blending mode. Okay. So a blending mode is like the multiply layer or the, I just never realized that's what they're called, I guess. So like blending mode is like, okay, so this is normal, this is darken, this is multiply, color burn, linear burn, lighten, screen, color dodge, glow dodge, add glow. I really like add glow. That one works really well for lighting. No, that makes sense. As soon as I heard like mathematics, I'm like, that sounds like adjusting opacities and stuff. So like if I turn down the opacity of add glow, I can figure out, I can change how bright something is reflecting off of something else. No, that made perfect sense. Thank you. I'm so sorry. I didn't know what you were talking about. It's literally called blending mode in CSP. Which art app do you use? Yeah, that's what I use. I use CSP. Welcome in, by the way. I'm using CSP, and it's not like, when I hover over the drop-down menu, it says blending mode, but I didn't know that's what it was called. I'm so sorry. I didn't even know it was called blending modes either. Yeah, I don't know. I just didn't know. You learn something new every day. Don't stop learning, people. Okay. So, yeah. CSP is really nice to use though. It's got a lot of options. I think I need to start on a new layer now. I've got the basic sketch down and I've been just kind of staring at this for too long. Let's see. Let's get a little bit more detailed because I am trying to replicate this screenshot as closely as possible without directly tracing. So, let's see. I've got the basic shapes down and I know what I need to fix. So, oh, I forgot. He also has chin spikies. I like him more. I know that I made his chin spikes a lot more like uniform in his official reference, but I like it when they're a little more scribbly and natural looking, kind of like almost like whiskers. What era is your design set in? The future, like the very future that you see in the end, or not the end, I guess it's the beginning of the Rise of the TMNT movie. So it takes place in 2044, but in the good timeline, by 2044, the world has not been destroyed. There is no apocalypse. There is no Krang. They defeated the Krang. A lot of other stuff has happened by that point in that future. But the Krang did not take everything over, and they have the opportunity to pursue a peaceful life. And not only that, but you know, this is one of the reasons. There are multiple reasons for the name Making Peace, but they have the opportunity to make peace with a lot of demons, like personal demons that they've just kind of buried for a long time. You know, stuff, just things that they struggle with in terms of like responsibility and self-worth and all of that. And so there's a little bit of a focus on their, I mean, as any story should have, there's a focus on their personal growth in Making Peace. Why am I getting so many art streams in my recommended recently? I don't know. I'm glad you got recommended mine though. Welcome in. How are you all? I'm doing good. I'm doing pretty good. I'm just having a lot of fun drawing here. And talking about turtles. But yeah, it's been a good day so far. Pretty chill. How are you doing? Oh, that's right. He has gloves. I need to remember that. He's not going to be... Okay. He has garden gloves because I made this the botanist can't speak. Botanist Donnie version. Okay, so low-key, I accidentally flooded my school bathroom by putting 12 eggs into it and flushing it repeatedly. That does not sound like an accident, my dude. That sounds like intentional property damage. Anyway. Let's see. I'm trying to replicate this almost feels like an in-between frame in the way that like some of the shapes are a little awkward. Like his eyes are just a little bit unfocused. I don't know, maybe that's just me. I'm really, really trying to adhere to the style of the screenshot. Let's see. Doing fine. I wouldn't call it a day, but I'm doing great, just fine. That's good to hear. I'm glad. I always tell that to, I try not to be, like, toxically positive, but I have a lot of pessimistic coworkers, and I'll be like, how are you doing? And they're like, oh, I'm here. And I'm like, well, that's better than bad. Things could be a lot worse. And I'm not saying the way you just phrased that it made me think of that or anything. I'm just glad that you're, seeing it positively. All right, second eye. The bane of my existence. How? Goes a little bit more up like this. Clothing folds are so hard. You know what? They still are a little bit difficult for me in a lot of ways, but I've found that they're actually really fun when you figure out the key to them. Who was it that I was watching that basically taught me? I think it might have been Ethan Becker on YouTube who taught me like just like the shortcut or cheat codes to drawing clothes, and his big takeaway, or my big takeaway from that, was triangles, and I'll explain what I mean. So, and then there's also like pinch points. So let's see, let's draw, what's going on? Oh, I'm on eraser. Let's draw an arm right here. So we've got an arm. Just a random cartoon arm. Let's give it a sleeve. Let's give it a regular kind of like sleeve like this that ends in one of those elastic things. So it's going to be kind of like a puffy sweater sleeve. So wherever, so you got to remember gravity first of all. Wherever the clothes hang, so like the fabric is going to hang off of, like, sit on top pretty close, pretty snug to the top of the arm, but the rest of it is going to kind of hang down. And also this arm, just to make this a little bit more extreme, let's bend this arm over this way a little bit. Okay, deselect, and because now we have slight gravity going this way, of course the rest of the sweater is going to, like, the cloth is going to be more prevalent on this side, and it's going to, like, be snug against this portion of the arm, that side. So, okay, so clothing folds. This is your pinch point. This is where the clothing folds on itself. From here, you're going to figure out where an opposite pinch point is going. And in general, I could just say, like, okay, just draw a bunch of triangles coming out in bunches, and that would work. But you have to consider, like, every part of the piece of clothing. And so, like, this is kind of a pinch point because it's taught against the rest, it's taught against the rest of the design, if that makes any sense. Again, I'm terrible at explaining. So pinch point here, pinch point here. This is the direction your general shape is going to go. So, but you don't just draw a line. You draw a faint triangle. Just, and they're like oblong triangles. And that gives you the impression of a fold. And you don't even match up the ends when you make that triangle. So there's one there. There's going to be, here's a pinch point here where the fabric kind of is tight against the elbow here. And so there would be another triangle here. And then there's also, if you were to consider the entire character, like right here, is where the fabric is going to be stretching a little bit off of the shoulder. So you're even going to have a little bit of fold going down here. I'm doing a terrible job of explaining this, but in general, you just find your pinch points, the places where the clothing is going to fold, and you find the other pinch point where it's tightest against the body, and then you draw your folds in between that. So there would be like some creases here, down this way because it gets tighter here and it's going to go across the, I don't know. I'd have to draw like maybe a whole shirt. Let me get rid of the arm outline underneath. Maybe that would help. So then that's your completed sleeve. And then of course you can draw within if you wanted to do a little bit of shading. We'll just do like, one of the fun things for me is like, again, doing the whole lasso thing, but like going inside one of the triangles and just airbrushing the underside. Automatic depth. You gotta fold. I don't know. I just love that. I think that's so fun. I'm gonna turn that shading off. I always look at everything positively, at least not trying to get offended. That's another big thing. If you can avoid getting, because some people get so offended so easily. It's no way to live. It's just like, one of the biggest things that I've learned in life is just do not like assume good intentions always. Don't assume that someone is out to get you, because that will make you a very bitter person. So that's a really good piece of advice. I think that's a good way to look at things. I was watching a video about cloth folds just a few minutes ago, actually. Yeah, it's you just have to practice it. It really comes down to that. You just have to practice, and it gets easier the more you do it. Here's the thing that people, I think, neglect to say about practice is you're not going to be good at it the first time. It's actually probably, when you practice, it's probably going to look terrible. I know that every time I have tried to practice a new technique for anything, it has always looked terrible, and I'm like, I'm a failure. I don't want to do this ever again. I don't like how I'm drawing right now, and I'm never going to get better at this. But that's not the case. The case is that you have to start badly to start at all. You have to. Like, you are almost never going to do something perfectly or even well the first time. You gotta mess up first. Do you know that for every kilowatt you spend for your computer, you use up 1,000 watts of energy? I did not know that. I mean, that makes sense. I think a kilo means 1,000, right? I could be wrong about that. Thanks for the help. You're welcome. I hope it was helpful. I got into rambling mode again, but I hope you got something out of that. Actually learning so much right now, even though I'm terrible at drawing. See, that's the thing. Like, everybody starts somewhere, but the fact, like, even if you consider yourself terrible at drawing, somebody who has a quote-unquote higher skill level than you is going to consider pieces of art that they make terrible. It really does not. The biggest not detractor, what is the word I'm looking for? The biggest opposition, I think, to people trying art, or, you know, that age-old saying where someone looks at your art and they're like, I could never do that. I can only draw stick figures. The thing about that is the mindset of, I could never do that. It just means that you don't understand what went into getting to that point. That you're so impressed with the way someone has drawn something, you think that it was some sort of well, I mean, it is a blessing in a sense, but it was something that they were just given, some sort of talent. That's the word I'm looking for. I've always disliked the word talent in the way that it's used, but like, it's some sort of innate ability that someone's just born with. No, you have to work for it. You have to practice. And sometimes you have to practice the same thing over and over again before you get the result that you want. And that's okay. What matters is not the end result. Well, I mean, it does kind of matter because you're trying to go for an end result. But you got to be willing to try, and you got to be willing to enjoy the process. YouTube takes so long uploading videos sometimes. I'm not sure that I would know. That's unfortunate that you're experiencing that. But every time I'm done with a live stream, I just kind of let it sit, and it eventually uploads on its own. I think it might have to do with something with the fact that like it's already been aired and recorded on YouTube itself, so it's already ready to go. So it doesn't take very long for me. I just hit the control or the shift T again. Gotta think, even if you may think it's terrible, someone else may find it awesome. Exactly, yes. That is it exactly. I try to keep that mindset a lot because I will see something that I've drawn and I'm like, oh, that's terrible. That's so ugly. And then someone else will see it and they're not seeing all of the little details and flaws and mistakes that I made while drawing it, because you're your own worst critic. That's just, there's no way about it. You will always be more critical of your work than anybody could be, unless they're really mean. But other people often are just going to enjoy what you drew. And if you look at your art through the lens of their eyes, you'll start to appreciate your own work anymore. And I'm not saying to like become boastful and brag about your skills and everything like that, but I am saying that there is, I feel like everybody should have a respect for their own skills and how far they've come. When I finish the drawing I'm making, I'll put it on my community post so you can check it out. Oh, that'd be fun. Let me see. I want to make sure you are the same person. Yeah, you were the person who was drawing the Orca OC lifeguard. That'd be cute. That's the nice thing about live streams. Yeah, I guess the processing time is just shorter. I haven't really noticed. I haven't uploaded an official YouTube video yet. That's so weird to say, because I'm literally using YouTube right now, but I haven't actually uploaded anything before. His eyes are not where they should be. Okay, now they're definitely not where they should be. That looks freaky. Actually, maybe they look okay there. Maybe I'm just not gonna move those. Self-doubt always destroys potential. This is so true. So, so true. That was even when I was starting this drawing, I was already like course correcting my sketch so much. And I was trying to keep myself from doing that. The Control-Z function, you know, the undo function in drawing programs is both a blessing and a curse, because on the one hand, you can fix mistakes that you don't like instantly. You could just keep undoing them, and that's really useful. But at the same time, it does incentivize you to fix absolutely everything, even as you're drawing. And that can really get in your way sometimes. Okay. Yeah, I'm just starting to realize his shoulder needs to be way higher. And I need to add like the tears in his mask. Let's see. I'm gonna give him everything is so close together. This is why we practice. Let's see, finger here. It's gonna be close enough. He is supposed to be bigger anyway, proportionally speaking, so. After 3 months, I've finally made another music piece. I scheduled it to post in about 15 minutes. Oh, nice. I'm glad you were able to work on that and finish that during the stream. I have my own mindset of art, which is just never doubt myself. Some people find that extremely hard to maintain, but I do it all the time, and I learned it's about going with what makes you feel better. Yes. Yes. Yeah, it is. I'm trying to describe what the mindset behind that is. I think after a while, like I used to be really hard on my own art. And then I think I just realized, like, what's the point? It got exhausting at one point to just keep, like, apologizing. Not even just about my art, but just in general. I would apologize for so many things that I didn't need to apologize for. And I think people just need to have more confidence in who they are as a person, and that people are not just going to hate the art they make or even just who they are, because of something that they perceive was supposed to be the way they're supposed to draw, the way they're supposed to behave. Yeah, I don't know. I see a lot of people who just lack so much confidence, and I'm not like judging them for it, but it just makes me a little sad because it's just like, that's no way to live. I used to live like that, and I don't want that for other people. I'm really liking how Raph is turning out already, even if it's just the head. Oh, thank you. I think his head turned out pretty well considering my reference material. Like, it looks pretty close to what I'm going for here. I think I might need to shift his expression down just a little bit, which should be easy, actually. We'll just... But yeah, in general, I'm pretty happy with how he's turning out. His face just needs to be more dipped, and I can't just dip his eyes because then that starts to look weird. I feel like I'm alone when I say the only type of music I listen to is game OSTs and underground artists rather than really popular music with celebrities. No, you are not alone. I was literally just talking to a coworker this morning about listening to the Tears of the Kingdom soundtrack, because oh my goodness, that is such a beautiful, the music in that, especially like the theme music and the trailer music is really cool. And just in general, video game music is just, oh, it's so inspiring, and so it's very cinematic too. So it's really fun to imagine characters in scenarios with that music. And then as far as like underground artists, like yeah, it's there are some songs where I'm just like, I hear one song from them and they're just like, they've got the smallest following, and it's like, how has nobody ever heard your music, or not enough people have heard your music? Like, I think, and usually it comes via some of my more niche interests. Like, I don't know if any of you guys are into Bionicle, like the Lego Bionicle. Really love that whole toy series and those movies and everything. Those were so much fun and nostalgic. I grew up with Bionicles. But there's this band called Cryoshell, which did a lot of the music for, I think, the advertisements, or just Bionicle in general. And their music is so good. It's so cool. And they, like, basically nobody has recognized them. They're just, I don't know. I just really like their stuff. I don't listen to hot new music either. I just listen to music from games. From games and some movies. Yeah. See, soundtracks are just, there's something really powerful and inspiring about them. And they're nice to listen to. Sometimes it's better to listen, for me anyway, it's better to listen to something more orchestral anyway, because sometimes things with lyrics can be distracting to me. I like lyrical music, but I really like instrumental music. I have a better time thinking when I'm listening to instrumental music. I've got to really like the lyrics in a song. if I'm gonna get into it. Or it's just gotta be super catchy. I do listen to Fentanyl, though. I've never heard of that artist. How long are you going to stream for today? Until 4 o'clock. I thought I had scheduled it until just 3 o'clock. I probably should have, honestly. Like, today, I have been swamped today with so much. Just, like, not bad stuff. It's just life stuff. And it's like, oh, I forgot I gotta stream for 3 hours. But, like, at the same time, it's also really good because it kind of forces me to sit down and get some good drawing time in. Because sometimes I don't always make that time for myself. And I end up going through an entire day and I'm like, man, I wish I would have just drawn for a good solid hour or so, or however long. And then during a stream, that's a good way to get a lot of drawing in for projects that I've been meaning to work on and that I want to focus on. So in this case, this is for an ask that I got on Tumblr. I think I mentioned that already before, but someone was asking about my making piece, Donnie and Raph. So I thought I'd combine that with a little bit of practice redrawing a screenshot. It's a racing game called Rush 2 on the N64, and I swear the music pops into my head at the most random moments. Okay, that sounds interesting. I might have to check that out. Racing game. It sounds like it's fast-paced music, and I do really like fast-paced music. I really like slow music too, but just like, I really like fast-paced and high-tempo music. I don't know, I just like good beats, I guess. Hi, welcome in. I can't stay long as I have class in a couple of minutes, but I wanted to say hi. Aw, thank you for stopping in. I hope class goes well for you. I keep forgetting that people have school still. I have not been in school for so long, and then like summer starts coming to an end. Like, it's not even September and like people are already going back to school. And I'm like, I'm so glad that I'm not in school anymore. I do not miss it. But education is good. In general, education is a very good thing to acquire. Do stay in school. You know, as long as you're getting a good education. Was my favorite subject art? It was kind of weird because I was homeschooled, so our subjects primarily, like, they were kind of all over the place depending on like what year we were. I never really considered art a subject either. That was just something that like our mom let us do. And I don't even say made us do. She just like, she gave us the supplies to draw and we just drew when we felt like it. And some of me and my siblings really got into art. I was one of them. My sister was another, and my other sister also really likes art. She doesn't do it as often though, but she's a really good artist. She probably will tell you that she is not a very good artist, but she is an excellent artist. Two of my brothers really like doing like cartoons and stuff. They're good too. But yeah, it wasn't really a subject so much as it was just something that was kind of a part of the household and, you know, something to keep us entertained in church too. It kept us quiet in the pews, as long as we didn't scribble, because, you know, that makes a lot of noise. But yeah, just, I think my favorite subject was probably, I don't know, maybe language arts, because, well, I really like writing. And I think I liked writing a lot better when I wasn't as young and just kind of hated everything about learning. Because when you're younger, I mean, maybe this doesn't go for everybody, but when I was younger anyway, I just I didn't want to go to school, so to speak. I didn't go to school. I went to the kitchen table. That's where we had school. I sat down at the kitchen table, usually in my pajamas, because you're homeschooled. You don't have to like get dressed or anything. Just stay in your pajamas. And then I would learn whatever it is I had to learn. I wouldn't say I was a dumb child, but I definitely didn't look forward to school every day. I think I got better at some subjects, like exponentially so after, like well after I became an adult. So like writing is one of them. I didn't like writing very much growing up, but then as I got into high school, I started to like it way more, like way, way more. And then I got into college and I was like, you know what? This is actually really fun. I actually really like writing. Get to do comics for a living. That is such a cool idea. I've seen some of your comics before. I think you would do really well as a comic artist. Hi, welcome in. Every day was pajama day. Yes, every day was pajama day. I mean, usually my mom would, like, at some point in the day, mom would be like, okay, it's time to get out of your pajamas. You need to get dressed and be, you know, like at least somewhat presentable to society, you know, in case anybody comes knocking. Because, I mean, she would have friends over sometimes, and they would bring their kids and we would play and all that stuff. And so, you know, you don't want your kids to look like a slob. But yes, we did get to wear our pajamas quite a lot. So how do you get colors on a character to match the lighting of the environment? That's a very good question. If you're talking about specifically like, well, I don't think you're referencing, I'm gonna guess you're not referencing the screenshot specifically, because when I get to the screenshot coloring, I'm just gonna like eyedrop for colors. And whatever they happen to be for the screenshot is going to inform me on the environment lighting. So, but in general, just like those blending modes that you were talking about, like you make a full, I'm trying to think. You just fill in a whole, let's see, I need to start a new layer. Let's just try random color, green. No, that is not, refer only to editing layer. And actually that's a very drawing green. I don't want to burn all your guys' eyes out. Okay, so there's a layer, and then we could go into blending modes, and usually like what I do is I select color. And then that kind of, actually for a better example, I'm gonna turn on the shading on Donnie's face to give you an idea. Ew, that is, ew. Ew, what is going on? Okay, that's better. Okay, maybe I just need to turn the shading down, that's why. Nope, that is the wrong layer. Oh, it's because I have, okay, because Donnie's outline isn't. Okay, so we'll turn this back up, the initial sketch. So I've only turned on the shading just to kind of give you an example, but just so like everything blends in cohesively, you would do like a full bucket fill, and you do color just in general to like get a general cohesiveness to the lighting and the surrounding, like the lighting of the characters and the surrounding environmental lighting. So it'll all be tinted, not exactly, but tinted relatively same color, which means that you can go ahead and just use like the basic yellow for lighting and red or purple for shading. I forgot to mention one thing. Wow, that's really red without the green. I forgot to mention one thing when I was doing the little rendering tutorial. Something that's really nice to do to just add a little bit of extra pop is to just do the barest amount, the smallest amount of bounce lighting. And you can do this on like a screen layer, or you can do this on just a regular layer and just choose a particularly bright color. Especially blue especially works really well for this. But just do like on the very lowest outer edges, just a little. And again, this is a situation where it's like less is more. Just a little bit of bounce lighting. And that just like adds a whole lot of depth to like not only the shading, but the coloring. So like that's what I usually like to do. And then for the shading, sometimes I'll do red, and sometimes, let's turn on, yeah, oh, Protect Alpha is already on. Sometimes I'll do, let's see, where's purple? Sometimes I'll do more like a purple. This isn't even on multiply. There we go. There, because purple is like the opposite end of the spectrum to yellow, and yellow is usually what you're going to be lighting with, but you can light with all different colors. And usually whatever you're lighting with, this is terrible because I'm not using like lasso tool or anything. Let me turn on add glow. Whatever you are lighting with, whatever color, the opposite is going to be the opposite end of the spectrum. Just as a rule of thumb, generally. Anyway, okay. I got carried away again. Turn down the sketch. Turn this back on. Turn the sketch way down. And I am, oh goodness, I'm behind on chats. Hold on. Oh, you're welcome. No, yeah, I've seen your comments before, but I haven't seen them in a while. But I remember reading them and being really interested in like the premise and where it was going. What drawing app do you use? I use CSP or Clip Studio Paint EX. It's really, really nice. I highly recommend it. I highly recommend getting the oldest version you can because it's a lot less expensive. The current version is too expensive in my opinion. It's like hundreds of dollars, and that's highway robbery as far as I'm concerned. You do not need to pay very much for a good drawing program, in my opinion. Crying right now, thank you so much. Oh, you guys are so sweet. I have to go. It's great chatting with you all, and you too. Egg, have a great day or night, and don't forget to drink water. That's right. I'm so sorry I missed your message. You're probably gone by now, but goodbye, and thank you for coming to the stream. And that is a good reminder. It is the top of the hour. I'm turning off my mic again to take a drink of water so I don't gross you guys out, but drink your water. All right, let's see, still catching up on chat here. I've been listening to the stream right now due to chores. Sooner or later I'll be able to participate. Also, the sketch is really awesome. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you're able to join. I hope this is good background noise for you while you do chores. I'll definitely do reflective lighting for when the sand reflects on the sunlight in my drawing. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's really fun to do too. It just kind of adds a little bit of extra something. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you like the drawing. Gotta get to I get to go out with my mom. I hope everyone has a blessed rest of their Friday. Have a great rest of your stream. Thank you. I hope that it goes well. I hope you have a good time with your mom. Thank you for joining. Doing a premiere of my music. I've never done this before, so I don't know what's going on. I've never tried Premiere either. I've never tried the Premiere feature, whatever you call it. Okay. Let's get back to drawing a little bit more. Back to replicating the screenshot in my version. Goodness. Okay, and I'm starting to realize that by drawing the clothes... I never like this song. Why do I have this song in this playlist? Don't get me wrong, I like silly, goofy tunes, but that one doesn't even sound good. What's your favorite bug? I swept up a beetle. Yeah, we get a lot of beetles at my work. Poor little guys. It's just like, find them lying on their back, and it's like, oh, you probably want to go outside. You shouldn't be in here. My favorite bug is probably butterflies. Or moths. I don't know, I like them flappy winged creatures. They're so cute. I really like moths because they're fluffy. And I like butterflies because their wings are gorgeous. I also do really like bees too. They're cute. For the same reason as moths. They're fluffy. Hi there, welcome in. Here's a fun question. What is all y'all's favorite bug? What bugs do you guys like, if any? If you don't like bugs, that's fine. That is perfectly valid. There are certain bugs that I don't like very much. But let me know what your guys' favorite bugs are. Make his elbow spike a little bit longer. His forearm is like looking weirdly flat to me, and I think it has to do with like this section right here. Why is my eraser so small? Okay. That's better. Ladybugs and dragonflies are really cool. They are. I really like dragonfly wings. Those are really, really pretty. I like bug wings in general. They're so cool. Wasps are so cool and creepy. They are really cool to look at. I do not like being around them. Catch them all the time in the house. Oh, when they're in the house, it's even worse. Again, they do look really cool, but it's like they do not belong in the house. Bees are amazing too. Yeah, they're so cute. I like jumping spiders, dragonflies, bees, moths, and caterpillars. All of those are great options, especially jumping spiders. I love those so much too. So we get so many of them in my house for some reason, and like, they don't bother me at all. They're so cute. They're them big ol' eyes, and their fuzzy legs. They're so cute, and they always have their legs like scrunched up in front of their faces. Yeah, we get a lot of them in my house for some reason. I don't know why. And specifically, like, in one certain part of the house. There must be, like, a nest there or something. I don't know. Honeybees. Yes. Oh no, they got killed by mice. I didn't know that was a possibility. I'm sorry to hear that. I'm assuming you were raising them for... Well, obviously you were raising them for honey. That's really cool that you had them. I'm really sorry to hear what happened to them. That's so sad. Jumping spiders are my favorite bug. Yes, they are so... Aren't they just... They're kind of funny looking too. I really like them. I don't know. Of all of the spiders, they are like the cutest. Yeah, I know. Poor honeybees. Avenge them. I don't know how you would do that, but this shall not stand. Alright, that kind of gets covered up there, so... Let's see, he's gonna have longer spikes on this side. It'll be a lot more apparent the kind of growth he's had over the years on this side. All right, thank you for stopping in. I'm glad you could at least stop by and say hi. Hi, bye. Hello, goodbye. Hopefully I will get some more sometime. I love beekeeping and having honey. Aw. That's just, I don't know, something about keeping bees just seems like such a peaceful pastime too. There's probably so many of them, you probably can't name them, but like, if you could name a bee, what would you name a bee? Hi, welcome in. I'm probably adding way more detail than the show style calls for in terms of clothing, but I can't help myself. Bartholomew. Okay, that took me by surprise. Oh, that's a good one. That is an excellent name for a bee. All I could think of was like bee pun names now. Like Bartleby. I also like bees too. So sweet. Also, bee's name is Bert. Oh yeah, Bert is a good bee name. Bert the bee. Why are some people calling you Ellie and some are calling you Sarah? Oh yeah. No, Sarah just said it. Sorry, we are chatting with other people in the chat. Yeah. people talk with each other in the chat sometimes, which is really cool, I think. I want it to be a nice place for anybody and everybody to chat. And I mean, like, obviously not just like, and I'm not saying anybody's doing this, but like not dominating the chat or anything, with just like their own conversation, which nobody does, by the way. But I really want people to feel comfortable to just like talk directly to each other in the chat. That's what I'm going for. I would name a bee Mrs. Nesbit. Oh man, like Toy Story. I don't know why I couldn't think of that for a second. I am Mrs. Nesbit. Do you see the hat? Man, I miss Toy Story. I should watch that again. He is fantastic. He really is. I would name the bee Beetlejuice. That's a good name. Would it be like Beetlejuice after the character or after the star? Because I don't know much about either one, but I do know that the name is really fun to say. Which I think apparently is some part of the lore about the name is like you're not supposed to say it or something. Again, I know very little about this character. The character, okay. Me and my dad quote Toy Story all the time. Yeah, it's very quotable. It's very, very funny. The voice acting in Toy Story is just phenomenal. You know what I should be doing is mirroring. Yeah, I cannot speak. I can already see some things that I need to fix, especially with Raph's face. Fixing facial features is always so difficult for me because I'm like, just the smallest thing that's off will make it look so weird. Okay, that looks a little bit more even now. Boss looking alien! Where? That is one of my favorite. Oh my goodness, Tom Hanks, his voice, there's something so hilarious about it. It's just something about his voice quality alone, like, and the way he speaks and expresses is just immediately funny. Wait, what side is his? Okay, I don't have to draw his armband, or his tech gauntlet, that's what it's called. And I'm glad that I don't, because it's actually one of the more difficult things to draw. I would rather just draw his arm in a solid shape and then just do the little outlines like this for his arm wraps. His ninja arm wraps. I love that line too. I'm not going to try to say all the quotes out loud because I will absolutely butcher them, but yes, that's a really good one. I think also it's a good one because it's a perfect example of the way, I just blanked on his name. The guy who plays Woody, Tom Hanks, he has such a vocal range and just like really expressive with his voice. almost done with chores. Yay! Chores, I honestly... Maybe this makes me just, I don't know, an old lady or something, but I actually really like doing house chores. And just like cleaning stuff in general. There's something so satisfying about it. And something very fulfilling. And it's peaceful. The things that I used to hate as a child are some of my most enjoyable activities now. Like, there are like games that I like to do now that I actually have to kind of keep myself from playing, otherwise I get a little addicted, like Sudoku. When I was a kid, I would have been so frustrated by Sudoku, and I would have been like, I don't want to play this. Why would anybody play this? And now I play Sudoku and I'm just like, I can't stop. This is actually a problem. So true. It's only peaceful when there isn't someone who will get stressed about a mess. Yeah, it's something about clutter. That's a really good point. Something about clutter, like just like mentally, it stresses me out. I can't live in an environment that has just clutter and junk in it. And I'm not gonna say that like I'm a minimalist or anything. Like I try to keep my possessions to a minimum because I don't want to become a hoarder. That's the last thing I want to do. But I really don't like having meaningless junk in my house either. I like having I like having a lot of things for decoration, but I don't like having things on my surfaces, if that makes sense. I don't want like junk and paper and clutter and all over my desks. I don't want clothes all over my floor. I want my surfaces clean. My walls I will cram full of pictures and decorations, and my shelves I will put plants anywhere I can. But I don't know. I don't like clutter. I haven't seen the fourth Toy Story. Does it do the third movie justice? I have complicated feelings about Toy Story 4. I would say my gut reaction is to say no. It kind of ruins the ending of Toy Story 3, and that it was supposed to be like this conclusion to like the passing on of the torch for the toys to now become Bonnie's toys. And that was a good solid ending, and then they kind of, in my opinion anyway, and I'm not the greatest, I'm not gonna say anybody should not watch it, because if someone enjoyed it, they enjoyed it, and that's worth something. But I don't like what they did with most of the characters. If you've ever heard of the term character assassination, they did a lot of that with the characters in Toy Story 4. They weren't acting like the normal characters. I did enjoy the jokes and the humor. It was genuinely a very funny movie, and there were some very heartfelt moments, but I don't know, it didn't feel like a Toy Story movie to me. I've tried Sudoku before, my brain can't wrap around it. I know, it's still difficult for me. I'm not exactly the most left brain thinker. As you can see, I'm very right brain. So like left brain is the more analytical side and right brain is the more like creative side. And I definitely lean more right brain. I have very left brain siblings and very right brain siblings, and I fall into the right brain category. But I do enjoy it still. My aunt gave me a Sudoku book, and I've been slowly chipping away at it. Yeah, it's kind of nice just to kind of pick up every once in a while. Just sometimes. It's a nice pastime. I don't want papers on my surfaces either, but that's what I live with. I know. Sometimes it's unavoidable. I have like a box that I just put all of my papers in because I was just getting sick of them all over my desk. Oh, I love the way you phrase that. Oh, the fourth Toy Story is... Yeah, it's something else. I haven't even seen the fifth Toy Story. Honestly, at this point, I've just given up. They're not making these movies for creativity's sake anymore. I don't think they care about the franchise. They're just making money. That came out very bitter. I don't want to be that bitter on this stream, but yeah, I don't know. I liked the original Toy Stories, and I am just happy to call the first three canon and just leave it at that. I am so happy to just never watch anything else that comes out Toy Story related. Although the Toy Story Tales, or whatever, the little shorts that they had for a while, those were actually pretty good. Like a continuation of what the toys got up to in Bonnie's room. That was a cool concept. What is one piece of furniture / decor that you'd get that you were unable to due to price / scarcity? That is a good question. Also, say hello to my brother, Blue Giraffe. Hi. What a piece of furniture did you get? Or decor. That's a good question. Oh, probably, if we're talking like, there are some massive plants that I would love to get. But you'd have to pay a lot to get them, and then they'd require a lot of upkeep. And like, I have a lot of plants, and I have some big plants, but I would like, I don't know, like a sprawling monstera, or like a huge, like a tall giant fig that reaches to the ceiling. I just like some more like massive plants. I have a lot of pretty bushy plants around my house, but it would be quite a commitment, I think. I'll probably avoid the fourth since I grew up with the first three Toy Stories. You're not missing much with the fourth one. That's all I'll say. Go ahead and watch it if you want to, but if you choose not to, I personally think that is a good idea. Because I don't think that it added anything. It just changed things that did not need to be changed. Serious lack of creativity. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. That's the way things go sometimes. That's the problem with many shows or movies. They milk them to the point it's unwatchable. Yeah, that's just... I think that's also just the nature of the beast. Like, the problem isn't necessarily the people, because you have a ton of people who are extremely creative, who are working on these projects. And, like, within their spheres that they are working on the projects, they do a really good job. Like, the art direction and the computer graphics and all of that stuff, it looks really good. The problem is that the model of the business itself begins to just like allow for a lot of laziness, I think. And again, it's like, I'm not trying to blame the creative people, but I think in general, the more a business is making off of a franchise, like, this is just what businesses do. Whenever something is working to make money, it's just going to continue trying to make money off of that IP, which is, in business terms, that's a very sensible thing to do, but then you kind of get lackluster products, and it's pretty unfortunate. Yeah. I don't know. I really appreciate, though, a lot of the other creative projects outside of like some of the bigger brands and businesses that are not so sunk into their business models, where there's actually heart and passion put into a project, and they're like taking a lot of risks to bring that to life, their project to life, even if it doesn't necessarily financially benefit them. Don't get me wrong, I don't think that people should be stupid financially, but I think that there is something to be said for not letting your creative spirit be dampened by financial incentives. Anyway, something is throwing me off about Donnie's mask tails. Maybe they need to be a little bit higher. No, they're in the right place. Maybe it's his goggles. That's why indie projects are getting extremely popular nowadays. It's more about creativity, not money. Yeah, I mean, and I am all for that, like supporting things that, like, the things that you want to see get big because there was actual, like, real heart and passion put into those projects. I'm trying to remember what the studio was. I really wish I remembered the studio, but one of my favorite projects that I feel like does not get enough recognition is an animated movie called Klaus. I think it's on Netflix exclusively, but my goodness, the animation and the story in that one is so good. Like, the animation is amazing. It almost looks 3D animated, but it is not. It is all 2D animated, which does not necessarily mean like traditional. I think a lot of it was done on the computer, but it was like drawn on the computer, like the way I'm doing right now. So like the drawing, it's 2D. So it's, you know, it's like, it starts with flat images, but then they also like render it a lot. So it almost looks 3D. That one's a beautiful movie, in my opinion. Taking risks is important to remember because it can pay off. Something I need to keep in mind as I'm working on developing something. Just don't be scared, kind of thing. Yes, exactly. Yeah, you can't be scared of taking risks. And that goes for a lot of things in life in general. You don't get anywhere by like hiding in a little shell and not taking risks, you know, because like there's almost always, you're going to be guaranteed to fail in some way, which I think I'm kind of circling back around to another topic we've already talked about. But like you're guaranteed to fail in some way, in some aspect in your creative journey, but you have to fail first before you can get better or before you can make something valuable. You just got to start somewhere. Hi, welcome in. Klaus is by the SPA Studios. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much for the information, because I was racking my brain and I could not remember. Yeah, I love that movie. I haven't watched it in a while, actually, and I meant to watch it last Christmas, but now it's not Christmas, and I have to wait till Christmas until I can watch it again. That is my rule about Christmas movies. Younger me did not care what time of year it was. I would watch Frosty the Snowman at any point in the year, but now I have to wait for Christmas. Like, that is just a rule for me personally. If you all are planning or making a series, what is it about? I'd like to know. Yeah, that's a good question for everybody. if you guys are making, if you are planning or making the series, or if you were to, like, just hypothetically, what would you do? Would you base it off of something pre-existing? Would you make it your own original idea with your own original characters? What do you think that you personally would like to, you know, put out into the world for others to see? I think personally I would just like to work on Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. If I were to work on any project. Although I don't really have an interest into getting into any studios for work. I have a job and I'm very happy with it. In general, it's just, I don't think that I could do art for a living, personally. I just do this for fun. But if, hypothetically, I was going to continue some series, I mean, I have a few ideas for some original series that I could work on, but I think I would try to bring back Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, because it was cut off before its time. Let's see, and then his... Wait, what am I doing? I'm putting all this work and detail into his plastron when his plastron doesn't even do all this. He has a sweater on. Or not a sweater, it's like a tank turtleneck? Is that what you'd call it? Heh, he's wearing a turtleneck and he's a turtle. Sorry, I missed some messages here. I'm the same way. I want to celebrate each season / holiday in order, not skip around. Yeah, exactly. It's just like, what's the point? You got to learn to savor things in the moment when they're happening. Like, I have some relatives who will, like, they will almost compete with each other to see, like, who can get to, playing their Christmas music first, and it's just like, why would you do that to yourself? Like, playing Christmas music in October sounds horrible to me. That is the season for playing the playlists that are like oldies in another room. I love those playlists. Those are the perfect fall playlists. My BFF is making their own comic. That's cool. That's really cool. I would plan to make a series of all my personas interacting with each other on the island they live on. Yeah, I've done that. I've done that in my mind before. Not with personas, but with, like, characters in my mind where I'm like, you come from this story and you come from this story, but, like, what if you guys met? Sleeveless top. Okay, that's a good way to put it. Yeah. Let's see. I just gotta follow the outline, I guess. That is what sketches are for, after all. Also, I'm realizing his arms and his chest needs to be way bigger. He is a big turtle. He is grown up. Give him a little bit more muscle, I guess. And that also means that he needs, if he has a wider chest, he also needs to have a little bit wider of a waist as well. I'm still confused about the idea of Christmas in July. Yeah. I don't understand it. I understand why stores put out decorations for certain holidays very, very, very early. Because I mean, like, if you want to get ready for the holidays, it's probably best to do it as early as possible. And also, I'm sure they run a lot of sales at that point too. But celebrating early, just, I don't know, you got to do it on the day. That's my opinion. I saw Halloween things in IKEA when it was May. Oh my gosh. That is way too soon. Love the Donnie. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you like him. I'm trying to base him off of my future design. I don't know how well I'm maintaining his design while also trying to replicate the screenshot, but I'm pretty happy with how it's turning out. I think the second pass in terms of sketching is going a lot better. Like maintaining shapes and everything. It'd be a pretty cool series. Yeah, it would be. Rat. I eventually want to make one of the everything movie, book, TV, comic, animation. My current trajectory is making a TV series. Oh, one of everything. Oh, I see what you're saying. I misread that. I eventually want to make one of everything. Book, movie, book, TV, comic, animation. My current trajectory is making a TV series. That is so cool. Definitely keep that up. Because, like, it'll probably be a long process, but, like, if you have a good idea and you stick to it and you really enjoy the process, again, huge thing. You gotta enjoy the process. You could make it happen. It looks really good so far. Thank you so much. Yeah, I think he's turning out pretty okay. Let's see. Just make his shell come down here a little bit, and he's not going to have the side of his plastron showing here, but it will be showing right here, just a little bit. I just realized it's almost 1 a.m. Oh, 1 a.m. where you are. It's almost 4 o'clock for me. I've got 20 minutes to 4. Have you ever done animations? Kind of. I've done like little, really short little animations on Flip-a-Clip on my phone. They're not anything to write home about, but they were fun. I haven't done, they're mostly just like motion practice clips of like a character throwing a ball kind of thing. Oh, that shouldn't be going under like that. Here we go. It looks a little weird. Shift things around a little bit. I don't know why I'm having a hard time with this front there. Maybe this needs to be moved in a little bit more. These guys, this, like, in this future, since it's 2044, these guys are definitely around their 40s, and Donnie is still perching on Raph like a little gremlin. So how would you do really shiny lighting? That's a good question. Let's see. Let me turn back all of my shading on for all of this stuff, which is not going to be like super accurate to his face now. Let's just actually, let's turn off the shading because we don't really need that for this example. This is the same layer. Erase this. I'll just erase everything that we did, but it's still on add glow. So first I would probably do, you know, just using his head as an example because there is so much free real estate with this forehead. Let's outline this general head shape. And then airbrush, and then I usually choose yellow for like lighting. If you want to do really, really shiny, like really bright, you would go to like almost white. So that almost turns like white. That's like, it's slightly yellow, but it's almost white. The other thing is like what you're contrasting with. So like if you have something really shiny, your background, like right now, the background that I have on is kind of like an off gray, kind of a grayish, if you will. It's just a good type of canvas to work on because it's a little bit darker. It already adds just a hint of color. But if I were to go to just a white canvas like this, it'd be a lot harder to see like really bright lighting. So it's really good to at least have your subject be darker colors and starker contrast of darker shading, and your background to also be pretty dark colors so that light can stand out more. You could go like all the way up to white and just like that is just about the brightest you can get. And so, but you also want a little bit of a glowing edge to the light. So it's good to use like the blending mode. Now I'm using that term so much now that you've taught me that's what it's called. You could go to the blending mode of add glow. And yeah, just get about as bright as you can. What I did there was I started with a yellow and then I lightened the very outer edge with some white, and then that's very bright. And then you can also add just a little bit more of a haze. So like add another layer, add glow, go back to your yellow, just very faintly, and you can adjust this with your opacity too. Just add a little bit of a haze. And I actually learned this from another artist just by studying her art because she's been doing this a lot lately and it looks so good. And I really think that this is a good way to add the effect of light and then, you know, just kind of adjust to your comfort level to make it a little bit glowy, but not so blown out that it just blends in with the rest of the glow. Just faint, just a little bit. I have to go. Wish you luck on the turtles. God bless. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining. I hope you have a good rest of your day or night. That's probably how I would do really shiny lighting. I tend to chicken out when it comes to like really extreme lighting. I like strong depth in my rendering, but I don't tend to get very bold when it comes to really contrasting lighting and shading. I gotta work on that. Anyway, let's see. Pencil. Gonna make those arms big. Raph gets so big in the future. Maybe for proportion's sake, just make that just slightly smaller. Because there is a little bit of foreshortening going on here. Let's add his little plant vials, whatever you want to call them. I don't know. Plant tubes. These things on his belt to collect plant samples. And what angle is his belt going at? It's kind of like a top-down thing, so let's see, circle. And then bottom part, little, I don't know what you want to call that, the base, and then the top would probably be the cap. The ironic thing about the show style, and me trying to replicate it in such detail, and such accuracy to this one screenshot, is that this style is developed specifically, or it looks like it's developed specifically, and also made with the most minimal additions to character design as possible. It's made to be probably fast to draw, because like animators have to draw pretty fast, or they have to be able to draw fairly fast, and so you don't want to overcomplicate designs. You want to be, you want to have, what is the term? I think the term is line economy. You don't want to draw more lines or more distinct lines than you have to, such as like in the case of, like, you can see here on Raph's hand, he's got his wraps on his hands, but whereas you could make the wraps kind of follow the form of his hand and follow the form of the perspective a little bit. I guess these kind of do. His fingers are facing away. They would be a little more straight, I think. It's just one straight line, straight through. Because they need to just do quick strokes, fast strokes to communicate the idea. And I am going out of my way to replicate these little design features. And I'm taking so much time to do it for one frame, which just gives me more of an appreciation for animators in general. It's crazy. It's crazy how much, like, how little time is put into single frames, in the sense that, like, they don't need much to communicate so much. Like, they're so good at drawing something, and drawing it on model too, like over and over again in slightly different positions to communicate motion. And it's just so incredible to me that people take the time to do that, drawing something over and over again, but also as they're drawing each frame, drawing it so quickly and without getting too hung up on little details. It's just amazing to me, because I think it's particularly amazing to me because I get hung up on little details, and so it's just like, how do you not stop and be like, oh, I want to shade this a little bit, or I want to add a little bit of this here or there. I love Rise of the TMNT. Yeah, I love it too. Welcome in, by the way. That is the majority of what I will be drawing when I stream, is Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That's my channel, basically. I mean, I do video games sometimes. I play video games, but mostly it's art streams. Let's see. I think we need to, his finger is gonna stick out of the frame a little bit, so hold on. Let's expand the canvas again. Okay. Nope. That's not what I meant to do. Gotta erase this finger. There's so much you can learn about a style, an artist style, or an art style in general, because this is probably an amalgamation of many different artists bringing their work together. But you can get so much out of an art style just by trying to copy it, because you learn so much about why it looks the way it looks. And it's really satisfying when you're actually able to achieve the same effects. I haven't been able to say until now, but the kind of series I would like to work on is a comic series featuring the premise being one can stay true to themselves amidst power beyond their own ability. That's a good premise. It's a really good premise. Sometimes things are out of your control, and sometimes, actually a lot of the times, things are going to be out of your control. But you're not going to, it doesn't mean that everything is hopeless and that your answer, your response should be negative. You can still be a positive and an uplifting person in the face of extreme pessimism. Yeah, I think that's a good message. I don't know if I was able to reiterate what you were exactly saying, so correct me if I'm wrong. That's what I was gleaning from it. Maybe I do want to change this a little bit. I know I'm going straight off of the reference, but this needs to be angled a little differently. Also, it being a comic series is always a really fun idea. Comics to me are really fascinating because they are so good at communicating a lot with both pictures and words. But there's something very special about a person who can make a good comic. It's a very good thing to aspire to achieve. I'm spot on. Okay, good. I was trying to extrapolate a little bit there, and I didn't want to misinterpret your idea. Fortunately, have to leave for dinner. Bye. Your drawing is coming along. Good. Thank you so much. That's so sweet. I'm glad you could join, and I'll be wrapping up here in a little bit anyway. So, but thank you for joining. Let's see. Oh, I forgot. Raph has a necklace. I give him a necklace with animals. He's got animals to represent all of his brothers. And April. I just realized something. I am on the wrong layer. That's okay though, because I wasn't drawing on top of anything, so I can just select this general area in case I happen to draw something where I wasn't supposed to, or where I didn't know that I was drawing. Let's see. Control V. Merge. Okay, that was a close one. bad habit of mine. I need to be more wary of that. What was I just working on? Oh, I was going to add his necklace. Hold on. Just a quick little addition. And it's probably going to turn out pretty blobby, just for the time being. There we go. And, oh, I should work on Donnie's knees. Oh, that's his shell. I was wondering what this section right here was. It's Raph's shell that his Donnie's ankle is hiding behind. I love the way he's crouched on Raph. It's so feral. See, I think I might need to lower Raph's arm just a little bit and give him a side. Poor guy. Missing critical anatomical elements of his design. How could I? And I am yet again neglecting to make him wide enough. Just gotta add a little bit more to his shell in the back here, just a little bit, because we're running up on time here. Okay. All right. Okay, that's good for now. That gives me the general idea so that when I come back to it, I know what I need to work on. All right, I think that's turning out pretty good. I'm pretty happy with the shapes in general. A lot better than what we started out with in the sketch. Although you always need to do, or at least I need to do, initial sketches in order to get the general idea. I'm not good at creating good shapes on a first pass. I have to do like 2, maybe sometimes 3 sketches before I get something right. But this will be a good second sketch, and then I'll do like line work, and I'll be using similar lines to the way that they use them in Rise, or that they have in Rise. You know, like thickness and line weight and all that stuff, and texture. You can't see it very well because this is extremely pixelated and fragmented. What's the term? Artifacted? Something like that. Anyway, yeah. But this has been so much fun. Thank you guys for joining. Thank you for being such a good crowd and for just chatting, and it's been really fun talking and drawing, and I hope you guys have enjoyed and have been able to work on your projects. Got a lot done with those. Yeah. Anyway, thank you guys. I'm reading some of your messages here. Thank you so much. I'm really glad you guys like how it's turning out, because I'm pretty happy with this too. Anyway, all right. Have a good day, night, whatever it is for you. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.